Stay connected as we discuss shared passions and firsthand experiences intended to enlighten, entertain, and encourage you to try new things. This is not a how-to, this is a why you should. Welcome to the You Should podcast.
Welcome to another edition of the You Should podcast. However you're watching or listening, we truly appreciate it. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us on all of our social media platforms at You Should Cast. All right, Mike, who's on tap for tonight?
Today's guest morning routine begins not with a scroll through his phone, but with the subtle crack of green coffee beans warming to life. Because in his house, the aroma of roasting coffee is the smell of intention. He's a man of deep roots, Italian blood, Southern California soul, and a faith in Jesus that burns hotter than Georgia asphalt in July. As a former elder at his church, a father and husband for over 20 years, he knows that the best conversations often happen while enjoying your favorite beverage. He doesn't waste words, moments, or even beans. Every roast, every grind, every pour is intentional because he believes anything worth doing is worth doing well. He still kayaks beside his wife like they're on their first date, only now with better paddles and a deeper love. He's a fisherman of both trout and truth, a genuine friend whose words are few, but always positive and encouraging. So pour yourself something bold, because today we're diving into the world of roasting coffee beans at home. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Brian Smith.
Bro, that's like, I'm not kidding. I never had an introduction so beautiful. It's just brilliant. I'm humbled. Thank you for having me today. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Well, thanks for coming in. We appreciate you coming in and talking about home coffee brewing.
And roasting.
And roasting. Let's not forget that.
Go. Start with the brewing. Yeah.
So how did you get started?
Yeah, brewing coffee for me, if we're going to start there, brewing coffee for me started when I was a kid. Italian parents, on special occasion, you would have to go to like the Italian store and get, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, the Italian roast coffee directly from the Italian store. And I think that was as close to gourmet as you could get back then. And usually we only had it on special occasions. And there was this silly little dial in the Mr. Coffee that somehow was supposed to change whether it was light or dark brew. And I thought, well, let's play with that. And I was all excited to play with that. And of course, my parents always ingratiated me as they were sipping their coffee. This is so good. Who knows? It could have been the worst cup of coffee they ever had. But that's where my love for coffee began. And they started letting me drink coffee at a very early age. As I got older, coffee started to become a vehicle for caffeine, right? I realized there's something interesting else in this thing. So I used to love to go to work with my dad on the weekends. If he had to go see a customer or something, he would let me shift the truck. I'd sit on center, or I would just get my left hand going. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. And of course, we would stop at 7-Eleven, the worst. Well, sorry, 7-Eleven, but it's bad stuff, man. But early on, he's like watching me get my coffee, and I'm putting sugar and cream like I always did. And I'd approached the desk, and he only said this to me once. He looked at me and goes, if you're going to drink coffee, you're going to learn to drink it black, or you're not going to drink it at all. He says, there's no time for sugar and cream, not when we're on the clock. It's like, oh, well, that was a summation of a lot of things, I'm sure you can imagine.
Well, when you started drinking at home, you're buying Italian grounds, and were they so good you didn't need to put in like milk and sugar? And then when you get to 7-Eleven, you're like, oh my God, this is so bad.
My palate changed quickly. It did. I would say, though, that was special occasion. Usually we're drinking like U-Ban or Chuck full of nuts or something like that.
And I feel like when those were big, that was, like in the 70s and 80s. So growing up, that's all my parents would drink. I remember the red Folgers can. Yeah. I mean, that was always in the house. But how do you rank those? So number one is U-Ban. Number 2 is Folgers. Number 3, Senka. Yeah.
Although Senka would get you a delivery because they did the instant if necessary when you're out and about.
Yeah. So you're out with your dad. He's like, hey, man. Did he give you the hey, man? Did he go, hey, man?
No.
I
wish my dad wasn't. He was a stern man. He was a military veteran. No, it was like a stern, like that stare, like, what do you think you're doing right now? I don't even get a chance to put sugar in my coffee, but I'm waiting for you. No, this is.
So he was more of the timeline, the actual time.
Yeah, not the coffee right now. This is caffeine delivery. That's all he was about in the moment. Yeah.
So how long did it take you to actually like coffee, drinking it black?
That's a great question.
Or was it something that
probably started liking coffee black after I spent a whole summer working at the Harley shop where you needed a caffeine delivery. And so then what ended up happening is I became in charge of making sure the coffee was, because I never liked anybody else's brew. It was either too strong or it was too weak, right? So I kind of snuck in there and became like the coffee guy. And then, of course, everybody's grateful that somebody went and did that. So it was helpful to learn that early on, like, oh, I could be in charge of that. But,
Brian, you're right. I think if you're making coffee for people, that is something that is truly appreciated.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, people recognize that.
They do. Yeah. I'll never forget one of the first, we called them secretaries back then. I'll never forget her walking up and down the aisles. I was new to this particular job and just asking over and over again, all right, who made the coffee? And I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble. I made the coffee. I got there early. And she comes over and she gives me a hug. She says, nobody makes coffee around here. Thank you for doing that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that totally set the tone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're working at a Harley shop. Was it a repair shop? What was it, like a motorcycle, or was it a Harley dealership?
So back then it was a dealership. Behind it was a aftermarket shop. The owner of Laidlaw's Harley Davidson owned this wholesale dealership in the back. Yeah, that in the Harley industry, right? Yeah. You learn to drink. We called it battery acid.
Right. So you grow up drinking coffee at home. Yeah. Then you get in, you start working, right? Yeah. You're just drinking black coffee.
Just to survive. Yeah. I got interested in what it meant to get the grind and the water ratio right initially. And I talked to a fella, he owns, I think he still does, the Clatch out in Rancho Cucamonga area. And they have one in San Dimas as well. He taught me that, if you grind your grinds in a way that you clump it in your hand, and when you open it up, 60% of it still stays like you made a clod, and the rest of it falls away. Because, a grinder's got 1 through 10 on it, trying to get that grind just right. There are ways that I'm not familiar with to get different ratios.
All right, so we're jumping ahead because when I buy Folgers, it comes ground.
Right, it does.
So I don't know if the squeeze it test is going to work on my Folgers.
You could try it, but it's not going to work. It's going to open up like sand in your hand. Yeah.
So you're getting into the difference between ground coffee and buying whole beans and grinding it yourself.
Yes. I learned early on that when you grind a bean, there's the flavor left in it in a way that is different than beans that have already been ground, even when they're vacuum sealed or freeze dried or whatever. It's just when you break the bean, it busts out all the oils in a way that has already been done in the grinding process before it went in your bag.
So Brian, you started drinking, you're 11, 12 years old, right? You start early drinking coffee, you know what you like, you don't like. And then what led you to start brewing your own coffee at home?
Well, first of all, it was just normal for me growing up to, everybody had the Mr. Coffee, right? What really got me to step it up and make some different changes was Starbucks. I mean, Starbucks it became a trend to go with friends. It's normal now, right? It's what we do.
Yeah.
And Starbucks, I think the book that the guy who started it, he wrote about creating this experience. And so everybody loved the concept, and, the world knows what Starbucks is now. But most of it was just born out of, I'm not going to go pay you because I like black coffee. I'm not going to pay you $3 or $4 for a cup of coffee when I can make it at home for 20 cents. This just doesn't make any sense. So first of it was just out of necessity, but it was all born out of just me doing it at home with my family to begin with, I guess. But stepping it up, because Starbucks, when I sipped a cup of Starbucks, I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't had coffee in my whole life ever.
And how was Starbucks when you first started drinking it?
Starbucks they were still new on the cusp of, we do coffee. The whole turning it into the venti, latte, what's the one you like?
I like the skinny vanilla latte.
That one. Yeah, I feel like at Starbucks now, most people are spending as much money on milk and cream and sugar and pumps as as they are on coffee. Right.
Well, Starbucks, I think, has done a great job, you're right, of amplifying the actual coffee into some really cool coffee drinks that maybe are more accessible to people, or they just, you know, again, you get your sugar hit, your caffeine hit, all these different taste elements, than just, hey, I'm going there for just an actual coffee.
Right.
Yeah. I thought that'd be a kind of a cool stat to know. What percentage of Starbucks drinks are just coffee? Because my daughters go there all the time. They get all those like the juice drinks,
the pink drink,
the refresher, the acai berry.
Remember when it was a status symbol too? Like you'd walk into the office holding up a cup of Starbucks, and you're like, look, I spent $6 on my cup of coffee. Yep. I had a guy that used to come into meetings with just the water cup from Starbucks. Like he would go to Starbucks and get a water cup so that he could have a logoed cup in the meeting, and he would drink his water that he was feeling from the drinking.
Did you ever just backhand that off the table?
No.
You had internal dialogue that wanted to.
No, there was a lot of side eye with the Starbucks
like, just
cup.
say for a while. I want you just to say something really mean on one of these podcasts. Just say internally you thought that.
We'll get there. Get there. I don't want to embellish too much, but yeah,
that's one of my main goals every episode is
get me worked up.
It's just to get you like to say, you know, something. Yeah,
it'll happen.
God knows I've said enough. If someone has, hey, I've been going to Starbucks, I want to take that next step. I don't want to do Folgers at home, but I want to take that next step and get a great quality coffee that I can do at home. Where do I start?
Well, that's actually fairly easy for us in the Southland, or Amazon's very helpful. So most coffees today that you get in the store, they're typically blends from all over the world. Each company, U-Ban, Folgers, whoever it is, they have their farms, they have their processes all set in place. And then typically what happens is you'll get coffee that by the time it gets to you, it's 3 to 6 months old. Okay. So if you want to hunt down a single origin that's like from a specific single farm somewhere around the equators where coffee mostly grows, you would have to put in like single origin and look it up that way. I bought beans on Amazon. Now Starbucks offers single origins. The local place, Bodie Leaf, who I'm plug in for today with my shirt, they've got single origins. So
it's really maybe starting out with the type of coffee you like, right? So if I like a lighter brew, then I'm going to try to get the grounds, the beans that are more, you know, conducive to giving me that type of cup.
Well, so when you get beans, there's a tasting profile on it. Okay. And the tasting profile usually says something like chocolate, raisins, figs, fudge kind of thing. That sounds like a good one to me, right? And so oftentimes I pick it by the tasting notes that are written on there. Let's see, Starbucks, they do like Pike's Place, and we know that's kind of, they also do the Verona, I believe, and Verona's like the light one, Pike's Place, a darker one,
Verona the blonde.
Yeah. So the roast is different. So light, medium, dark. Let's just use that language. So coffee beans are from a fruit, and it's not a bean, it's a seed from the coffee tree. And like I said earlier, they grow all the way around the equator. I have a friend who attempted some here. That might have been a guy named Paul.
Friend of the show, Paul Damas.
Yeah,
we've had him on.
Veggies.
No, he'll grow anything. That was the thing. He's like, he can grow anything. And so
he intentionally set aside, because his trees, like he has one tree, it's about this big, and he was trying to get together enough for me to roast. By the time we got to it, unfortunately, the beans just weren't robust enough to stand up to the heat to put them in there. But I thought it was a wonderful try. And a coffee tree is cool to have, and it's cool to look at. And you can taste the fruit if you want. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't have much flavor, to be honest.
I mean, if you have a garden and you can say, hey, I have a coffee tree out there, I feel like automatically you're like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
You may have nothing else growing back there, but if that tree, like everyone's going to come over and be super impressed.
It's pretty too. I mean, the flowers on it are gorgeous. Yeah. The fruit looks like cherries. It's really a fun concept. So
if I'm just starting out, can I go to the local supermarket and get a decent, coffee that I'm going to brew at home, like a Starbucks or something else?
I think you can. I think
so. That's a great starting point.
And the best way to do it is if if you drink coffee, you drink coffee likely every day. So the best way to get started is your next bag, pick a different brand. Sure, you like whichever brand it is you like, but try something different the next time.
You know what? That's a great point, because if you're drinking it every day, you're rolling through this so fast.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Right. So you're like, I don't like this one. Let me try something else.
Yeah. So I drink Folgers with my Mr. Coffee. We'll use that as the baseline entry level.
I feel like Starbucks has to be the entry level now.
Well, no, this is like, if you're making it at home.
Are people still buying Folgers? That's still
for sure.
Okay.
100%.
All right.
Oh, they are. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They are. Yeah.
If you're a daily coffee drinker looking for some caffeine, I got my big Costco red bucket of Folgers. I got my Mr. Coffee with the disposable filters, and I'm brewing a full pot every morning, and we crush that. Right.
Right.
So I think, the You Should podcast, we're wanting people to try new things. So,
you should next try a can of the Colombian stuff from Costco. That would be the next step. So they're sourcing that typically from Colombia, and it's a good roast. It's got good flavor. It's a good all day kind of drink. But that would be the next step. So you try something different that time. But you're getting the Costco can, so you're going to make an investment. Although I can promise you, in my opinion, you'll enjoy it as much as you like your Folgers.
And you can put more grounds or less grounds to adjust the strength of that, right?
Yes, brew ratio. Yes.
Be strong, so you could actually put a scoop less, perhaps?
Totally. Okay. Yeah, brew ratio is super important. Water to grounds that's being translated through, and a stronger cup of coffee is typically, there's more grounds used during the brewing process. You would call that stronger.
Yeah. So when you have your grounds, what brewing method do you like? What do you use on a daily basis?
I do a pour over. And
what's a pour over?
Okay, so a pour over, usually you have a coffee cup and a conical device that sits on top of the cup, and you put your ratio of coffee in this conical filter, is what it is, and you pour the water. So for me, one of the most important things about brewing is the temperature of the water. And for me, the ideal temperature is anywhere from 203 to 205.
Yeah. Like, give me a 2-degree window.
That's classic. Yes, actually, I do use a thermometer pretty regular. You can buy a device like, you get the teapot for brewing tea that you plug into the wall. You could use that, and that's got a temperature on it.
So Brian, explain that, because I think that's...
So you could go that route. I think
that's important, because my wife and I, we have a coffee maker, right? We just pour water in and out comes the coffee, right? And who knows what that temperature is, right? We just drink it and it is what it is. Now I'm taking the next step, right? So I'm trying to get to that certain temperature. What does that give me?
To me, it's the optimum temperature to extract the coffee from the grounds.
Got it.
So if it's not hot enough, you're not getting a full extraction. You can actually kind of burn it if you want to do it with boiling water. It's too much of an extraction. It's an exaggeration. But when I'm camping, it's boiling. I heard it whistle, hang on to it for 30 seconds, and I get to pouring it. I'm not that picky, but when I'm in my confines of home and I've got my tools.
Right. And can you tell the difference if it's like at 190 versus 203? Like, is there discernible?
I can. I'm like, that's a good cup of coffee, but I think I could have,
Yeah.
That's what nerds do, I guess, right? Like,
Yeah, no, that's super cool.
But everybody, to your point, everybody's palate is different.
Correct.
Right? So you're picking up on subtle notes that maybe I wouldn't pick up on. I'm like, it's all great.
Well, I think that's really cool, right? Because that's one of these fun things when you start doing it every day and you're using different grounds and beans and from different regions. Now you're really getting into those, small variables that you can taste.
Yes.
Right? In the final product.
Mm-hmm.
So run us through kind of your typical, the 2 or 3 biggest brewing methods, right? So you have the pour over. I hear a lot French press.
French press
is also really big, right? Maybe espresso. A lot of people will do that. Like, what is the difference between the pour over and then the French press? I feel, are those the 2 biggest kind of brewing methods at home?
Yeah, absolutely. You hit it on the head.
And then how many cups does that give you when you do the pour over?
Just 1.
Okay, so you're doing that for every cup.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do like a thermos and take it with you, you just have to do that 2 or 3 times?
No, I
do a larger quantity.
Do a larger quantity. Absolutely. Yeah. Put more grounds in the strainer, add more water to the process. Absolutely. It just takes a little bit longer to do a pour over for And I have some tools for that too.
And then what exactly is a French press, and why do people like that? Like, what's
a French press is like, I'm guessing the French invented it. I'm going with that. And basically it's a glass container that has a mesh net, which is the filter. And so you put the coffee grounds in the bottle of this empty glass beaker, if you will. And then you pour your hot water in there. You let it bloom. You finish pouring it. You stir it up a little bit. And then you put the mesh net. And I think the last time I looked it up, it's like you wait 3 minutes for it to mingle in there. And then you compress the plunger would be the right language. And then you got coffee. And the only drawback though is if you leave it in there too long, it's still mingling with the beans at the bottom. It's not like you filtered it through your other Mr. Coffee thing.
Oh, gotcha.
So the grounds are still in the bottom. So it's getting stronger the longer it sits on the table.
And at some point, if you let it sit too long, does the stronger coffee flavor turn into bitter coffee flavor?
It can.
Yeah.
Especially to me. Yeah.
Okay.
It certainly can.
So what is the difference between the pour over and the French press? Is it a preference thing? Is it the end result of the taste I'm having? Like, what is the difference?
Typically when you do a pour over and you're using a paper filter, the likelihood of having any particulates in it is low. When you use a French press, there'll be some particulates, even fine ground coffee that you're still going to get on your palate.
Do some people like that?
I do.
Like, it's a little more.
I do.
You like the pretty?
Yeah,
So it kind of gives you a little.
I don't know why. I could chew on this stuff.
It's like the mud at the bottom of the glass is what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, it's like the hazy, right? At the bottom of the hazy, there's like always that little residue left over, and you're
totally,
like, oh yeah,
totally, yeah.
What's that?
But
so
it seems like with the pour over, you probably have a little bit more control because you're controlling how much water is hitting those grounds. Like you can put a bunch, or you could go really, really slow. Versus the French press, it's kind of hit or miss. Like you're letting it steep for a certain amount of time, hoping that it did what it's supposed to do. You plunge it, and then typically those are making more than one cup. So you pour 1 cup, you drink it, and the rest of it is still sitting on the grounds.
The next cup is going to be a little bit stronger and so on. With the pour over, that's not the case. The flavor of your cup will change as the coffee cools off. And that's the only thing affecting the flavor difference.
Oh, wait, talk about that. I've never heard anyone say that.
Okay, so the beauty of a brewing coffee at its optimum temperature is you're getting the optimum extraction out of it. And it's a chemical process, actually. And so in a pour over, as you pour over the top of your filter with the grounds, it'll start to bloom. A fresh coffee will bloom. Store-bought rarely does, but a fresh coffee will start to get this cap that kind of starts to look like a volcano and then you wait about 30 seconds and then you crack it, the cap with the water, and then you just keep going. When the coffee blooms like that, it's extracting the coffee out of it. So when you get your coffee and you sip it and it's hot, probably for me, within like the first 5 degrees to 10 degrees, I'll start to notice a change.
Wow.
In the taste difference from that first sip down to the bottom of the cup. It's super fun.
Wow, I've never heard anyone say that. So now if I take it back to the microwave and I nuke it, does it get me back to that taste or no?
Yeah,
it's a one shot. Because I feel like a lot of people do that.
I totally do that.
No, but I feel like a lot of people do the old reheat. Does it get me back there or no?
No, it doesn't.
That's just a one. That's a one.
Yeah, it gets you to the basic part. Yeah.
So I'm picturing Brian as the connoisseur here, right? Like you're really looking for certain things in your cup. You're looking for certain flavors and aromas.
Yes.
No different than like a tequila drinker, right?
Same.
Who's going to pour his tequila in a snifter and sip it and really look for these, take his time, be intentional and look for those nuances versus a tequila drinker that pours a shot and throws it back and is moving on to the next.
Right.
Which is probably what most coffee drinkers are.
Correct.
Are more of the shooter side. Not that I'm shooting my coffee, but it's caffeine delivery. I'm looking to drink my cup of coffee as quick as I can so I can get to my second cup of coffee. Right.
Totally.
And it's more routine than it is being intentional. I'm drinking my coffee as I'm doing other things, as I'm working, as I'm dealing with the kids, as I'm making breakfast versus sitting, being intentional and enjoying what I just created.
Yeah, tequila is a great analogy, I think. Absolutely. The coffee, yeah, you're chasing all of those notes. Like, so I bought my coffee based on the tasting notes. I'm hoping to find those tasting notes when I sip the coffee. I want to try and see if I could smell them too. Are they coming in through my olfactory? You know what I mean? that's what I'm chasing in a cup of coffee.
So it's interesting for a coffee drinker or people that would consider themselves coffee drinkers have probably never experienced coffee in a different way. Again, I drink my 2.5 cups every morning between these hours in the same routine Monday through Friday, right? But to actually stop and take your time and look for certain notes or go through a different process and make the coffee and try and find different flavors could be an interesting strategy for some.
Yeah, I think that's stepping up your game when you try and chase the tasting notes through the process. Because if you get a different coffee, it'll taste different. But if you're putting the same coffee in the same machine over and over again, it's always going to taste the same.
Right.
I think that's kind of cool because I was thinking about drinking beer, right? So I would always have Sam Adams, Shock Top, Blue Moon, Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Love them all. But once I started getting into IPAs and then the smaller breweries, right, where there's such a different taste, and we're even, I have a hazy from Everywhere, we have a hazy from Humble. These are two small in the grand scheme of things, very small breweries. These are totally two different beers, completely different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, don't even taste the same.
Yeah,
at all. And I think that's kind of cool is when you really get to that next level. So if you're buying different beans from different regions and all of that, it's going to give you a different flavor profile.
Sure.
And then really you either like that or you don't like that.
Absolutely.
But even the different grind, the different temperature, the different process of making it, French press versus pour over versus Mr. Coffee,
all give you a little different, like tweaking, right? It's like, hey, I'm going to take this and I tweak it.
So how many people would actually spend the time to tune their coffee making process to find their optimal, like, oh my gosh, I found it, right? Eureka.
Right.
This is my favorite coffee.
Yeah, I don't know if you get turned on to it, man. There's also another way to brew coffee, and that's called a cold brew. Now, cold brew coffee, I brought some today.
Yeah.
It's in the cooler.
Mike, you like that?
I'm in.
Oh, you're in. Okay.
Cold brew is usually steeped. So you could use a French press. This is the best way to describe it. You would do the same thing as it applies to the ratio of grounds versus water, depending on your palate. Then you would put it in a French press and get the grounds good and wet and stirred up in there. I usually push my plunger down just a little bit to hold all the grounds into the water. And then I put it in the fridge for 12 to 16 hours.
Oh, wow.
And that's called a cold brew. Now, that's different than iced coffee. Iced coffee can be hot brewed and then poured over
It's just poured over ice, right?
Correct. Cold brew is cold brewed. And so when you cold brew it, the fun part about it is it lessens the acidity inside of the cup. So it's a whole different flavor profile out of the same exact bean. Did you want to try some now?
Yes.
Let's do it. It's in the cooler.
Is it time?
In your
All right.
cooler, I think. Okay.
All right. So what do we have here?
So just for the record, anytime someone's like, do you want to try something? My answer is always yes. I mean, always yes. I mean, it's the whole purpose of the show here is try new things. Yeah. Like this isn't by accident. Like I'm all about trying new things.
All right. Well, let's start with the bean.
Okay.
I brought some beans today.
So what do we have here?
So today you're sampling these beans.
Oh my gosh. Look at this. I mean, Mike, this is our first guest that has brought gifts.
Come on, let's go.
Let's see if we can get the,
dude,
the
that's
camera
so
switched.
good.
So Brian has brought us coffee beans.
I mean, you know what? I can smell that. And it's like, dude, it's so good.
Okay, so today, the beans that are in here, all right, and this is important, are from a roast from a week ago. And we'll talk more about that as we move forward. But these are representative of the beans that are in your bags.
So again, these were steeped in cold water in the fridge 12 to 16 hours.
And then when you brewed them, when did you brew these? Like a week ago? Like how long does a cold brew last?
When did I brew this?
Yeah.
I brewed this day before yesterday, which made it ready to consume, I don't know, by yesterday morning. So these are great and for 3 days. So take one down, pass it around.
All right, so 3 days.
All right. So this is a cold brew.
It even smells a little sweet.
I mean, seriously, this is the best. This is the best coffee I've ever tasted in my life. No, it really is, because you can tell, again, just drinking Starbucks, you can tell the distinct difference. Again, it goes back to drinking the Sam Adams versus the Everywhere.
Yeah.
This is so fresh, like the freshness just comes through and the flavor is there. Right? Am I like totally out of my mind or what? Like, you tell me. I'm the novice. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Brian's love language here. So very flavorful, very
so
coffee
good.
forward, but like no bitter.
Yes,
no
right.
bitter at all.
Yep.
So the cold brewing lessens the acidity, which lessens the bitter or the sour, whichever your tongue's telling you. Yeah.
So
Is the caffeine still there?
Yes, absolutely it is.
So the heat, when we're traditionally brewing coffee, is extracting acid, which is turning into bitterness. Is that what you're getting to?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It's more acidic, so it is adding to the acid, removing the acid from the ground. Yeah.
And the cold brew process isn't pulling as much acid out of the grounds, thus not quite as bitter.
That's correct, yeah.
Or in this case, bitter at all.
I mean, it is so crazy smooth. There's such an amazing taste. And when the coffee flavor, it's there. It's not this early, late hit, right? How we talked about some of the bourbons, right? It's, I taste it at the finish or at the front end, or this is just.
Oh, we should use an ice cube on this.
It'll work too.
Yeah, totally.
We do have ice cubes.
Mhm.
It's interesting too, because with the absence of that bitterness, it almost tricks you into thinking it's a little sweet, right?
I would agree. Yeah.
I don't think there's a ton of sugar there, but again, no bitterness makes you think, in my mind, sweet.
Well, you know what's so great about this? And to your point, Mike, there's not a sugar blast
Right.
that you get in this, which again goes back to it's just pure.
Right.
Because if you did put stuff in there, additives or anything else, but it just tastes so smooth.
Yeah. Help yourself.
Cold brew, highly recommend it for those people that haven't tried it. And apparently you can make it yourself. So is this
Make it at home? Yeah, absolutely.
Is there a magic ratio? Is this just Google it? Like, how do you?
The magic ratio, my typical cup of coffee is 15 grams of coffee to about, I don't know, over 14 ounces. It just depends on the day.
I got to think, though, just like everything, like we always tell people all the time, like there's resources available. Like Google is your friend. Do a little bit of research. Spend 10 minutes when you're sitting on the pot and be like, hey, what's the optimal way to make cold brew, right?
Is that like pun intended? Because like the coffee pot and the actual pot?
It wasn't, but it just,
I feel like that was good. That was next level right there.
It was.
Mr. Band.
That was pretty good. Look up what the ratio is, get a couple different,
That's how I did
opinions
it.
on the matter and start.
I read a book, but I mean, aside from that, all of the specific things, I still to this day, I'll be like, what was that number again? And I'll go look at it again because I'm still questioning the grams versus water question right now. So look it up, guys. I'm not sure.
I think one of the cool things is it really is an individual taste, right?
Yeah.
So your palate's different than Mike's, different than mine. And I think that's one of the cool things is as you go through this process, ooh, I like this. Ooh, you know what? I didn't like that. Right. And you kind of refine it based on what you enjoy.
Totally.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I'm brewing, I'm buying my grounds, right? If I want to take that next step and start to buy beans and grind them down, what do you recommend for that? How do I get to that spot?
Well, I would say the first thing to do is start grinding coffee. You could buy any sort of grinder.
What do you recommend? Do you recommend a manual, an electric?
An electric grinder that you could change the setting on. My electric grinder, I think, is made by Braun, and it's between 1 and 10, and it'll say like the first grouping of numbers like 1 through 3.5 or whatever is coarse grind, all the way up to fine grind. And so when you're doing a drip coffee, you could make it as fine of a grind as you want because you got a paper. You got paper in between it.
Does that matter when you're doing the drip?
It does matter. Does
a finer give you less or more flavor?
So you can't have too fine of a grind when you're doing drip. They usually say don't go past like a 6 or a 7 on the fine scale. What happens when it's too fine is that then the coffee maker doesn't like it. It usually piles up on top of itself instead of straining through it like it's supposed to.
You'll like clog the filter, right?
Pretty much. It's kind of like that.
So fine grind would be espresso, coarse grind would be like your French press or maybe your pour over, and then the medium grind would be drip, I would guess.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
And I know that there's 2 different kinds of coffee grinders because, 20 years ago you bought a coffee grinder and it had like 2 little blade, like propeller blades in there. You'd put your beans and then you would blitz the shit out of this thing and it's crazy loud and it would just be, there's no fine, medium, coarse. You would just pulverize this into a
you're trying to find it. The trick to it is picking something that'll give you the grind consistently whatever one that you want.
So we just upgraded our grinder, and it's a burr grinder. Burr grinder.
Yes.
So it's like 2 grinding stones.
Correct.
That when you adjust the grind, it's pushing them closer or further apart. So as it's cracking those beans, it'll give you coarse versus fine.
And as I remember it, a burr grinder is known more for a consistent, like, breaking of the bean. And I think that's really the trick to stepping it up with your grinder game.
So if you were going to buy a grinder, if you're new to buying whole bean and grinding it, we would recommend a
conical burr.
A
conical burr. Yeah.
Not,
some come with ceramics, some come with stainless steel blades, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Not one of those helicopter blades.
If you're camping, dude, and you got to do what you got to do, you know.
I mean, you can mortar and pestle it too if you really want to.
You could take a hammer and put it in a bag. Do
I've
what
done
you
it.
got to do.
I've done it. I ain't gonna lie. I've done it camping.
If you need your dose, man.
Oh yeah.
Can your switchblade grind them up, you think?
I did not, but it was a.
I feel like you could.
It was a rock. It was a rock on a wooden table, and we ground them.
So Mike,
It works.
last night I almost text you. So I love Dude Perfect.
Yeah.
The girls and I grew up watching that. I don't know if you ever heard of Dude Perfect. It's basically 5 guys. They do trick shots. Well, it's evolved over the last 10 years. So they have a segment. It's one of their shows. It's called Cool or Not Cool, right? So they go around the table. There's 5 of them. So maybe you'll bring in, oh, there's this water gun. It's electric, blah, blah, blah. So everyone says, oh, that's cool or it's not cool, right? So one of the guys, Corey, he brought in a Swiss Army knife that was that long. It was filled with everything. It had like, a toothbrush, nail clippers, a knife, and I was like, oh my God, I have to send this to Mike. Everyone hated it, but I thought of you.
So
what is the right amount of?
He's always making fun of me because I always carry a pocket knife.
Right.
Oh.
Because I'm saying not one time.
When
maybe,
you work every day, you need one.
Yeah. But what is the right amount of, what do you call it?
Attachments? Yeah.
Attachments.
1, a blade.
So you just have a blade.
1.
You don't have the candle printer on there?
No.
I'm with you.
On the back side?
In a pinch, you could use it as a candle.
All right.
Some guys carry a Leatherman, right? Because you have pliers on there, and it'll usually have like a little screwdriver or something,
Those are
which is
heavy.
totally cool. But they're heavy, right? So depending on what you need, I think at a minimum, a blade.
Yeah, a blade, right.
And then you're carrying I'm not carrying.
Yeah. When was the last time you used that specifically?
This knife?
Yeah.
Today.
To do what?
I opened a couple Amazon boxes.
All right, there you go.
And something else this morning.
Those damn Amazon boxes, for sure. That's a great. Just that alone. Just for the Amazon boxes.
I use my knife every single day. And what's funny is everyone that doesn't carry a knife, like, what the hell you use a knife for? I'm like, how do you not carry a knife? Like, I think once you start carrying it,
right,
the uses are endless.
It's probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always use my car key for the Amazon box. And I'm just like, every time I do it, I'm like, it's going to snap. There's going to be that one time it just snaps.
Well, I can't tell you how many times I've given it to somebody else that needed it for something. Like, my daughter, my son, my wife, friends, camping, like wherever. Like, there's always somebody's like, crap, I can't do it. And it's like, well,
is there that? I would love to see the comments on that, right? Because I know it goes both ways. If you're a knife carrier, you're all in on your perspective. If you're not one, you're like on mine. Like, I really don't see the value of it.
I have a knife in my wallet, and it's a Swiss. And it's credit card style. It's got a knife, a pair of scissors, tweezers, magnifying glass. Anyhow, that knife and scissors I've used in so many contexts.
So how does it fit in your wallet?
So it looks like
a credit card. And then how does it the attachments pop out?
Yep, they slide right out.
Dang, I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's a brilliant tool.
I feel like, Mike, that's next on your list right there.
No. I'm trying to get my wallet smaller, not bigger. I carry a pocket knife, so
sure.
Yeah. But no, I bought like off of Temu or something. Like, I hate to say it, right? 'Cause China's not in the highest regards at the moment. But they sell these little credit card things, and the credit card folds in thirds, and there's a little knife, and it's like scalpel sharp, and it's like one use. Like, it's the worst steal ever. Sure. But I gave it to my wife and my daughter, and I think I gave one to my son. And I'm like, women typically aren't carrying pocket knives on them. But again, they can put it in their wallet. And if they ever needed to cut something, right? I'm thinking more like emergency situation.
Yeah.
They have a crazy sharp blade that they could use for whatever they need. Just can't travel with it. Don't go through airport security.
Yeah, don't do that.
But you buy like 25 of them for like $15 or something. I mean, they're crazy cheap, and you get a big stack of them. So if you have to throw it away, so be it. But they really are a one-use type of deal. But yeah, I can't recommend enough how everybody doesn't carry some type of blade.
Do you look down on guys that do not carry a pocket knife?
Of course not. I see room for improvement.
Good language. I like that.
I do. I'm just like, oh, you haven't realized that there's a use for this, or you like, again, the whole purpose of the show, try new things, right? Yeah. Like I don't look it down on anybody that hasn't done something that I'm into.
Would you be willing to try not carrying a pocket knife for 30 days?
Oh, I have. I've forgotten it.
Yeah.
And
do you go out and buy a new one pretty quickly?
No. But or if I travel, like I have traveled before and forgot to put it in my carry-on and it left it in my pocket by accident. And sure enough, like you get to the security and you throw it away and it's
I've had a couple of those.
Well, I've done it like on the way to a trip. So then like for a week I'm gone and I have nothing. And
you just cursing yourself like
every time I go to grab my knife and it's not there, I'm like, I don't have it. Where's my car key or something else that's not suitable to solve the problem.
So whose side are you on, Brian? My side, the non-carry, or Mike's side?
Well, I already shared with you. I have one in my wallet. So.
Right, but that's not. I'm going to say that's the hybrid. That's between both of us.
Yeah. No, I carry a knife.
It's true.
Yeah, I'm going to say I don't know. I'm not willing to say you do or you don't. I'm just saying the jury's out.
I think we're going to have to get Mark a knife and force him to carry one for 30 days just to see, hey, do you ever?
You know what? I think that you're right. That's a good.
As long as you don't use it like a screwdriver, and then you're okay.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. I think like most guys, I don't want a bunch of stuff in my pockets. Already the phone and the keys and the wallet. That's already, I feel like.
Has to be light, has to be comfortable, can't be bulky. Like I used to carry a
Do you put it in the same pocket as your keys? Maybe you give me the knife and we do like a role reversal. Right? Like you don't carry one for 30 days and I carry it for 30 days. Then we come back, or maybe just 2 weeks, maybe 1 week, maybe from podcast to podcast. You don't have the knife, and then we report back, and I go, oh my gosh, I used it like 30 times. This is amazing. And maybe you're like, oh my gosh.
I already know that I would be wanting to use it all the time. So me not carrying it, I don't think proves to something.
Pretty tough.
But I will bring you a knife if you will commit to using it.
Yeah, I will. I'll
carry
it around.
And again, you just keep it with your car keys, your wallet, your phone, all of that. It's like your everyday carry. So every day you put all your shit in your pockets and you slide that in and away you go.
Should at least have one in your vehicle.
Yeah.
Your vehicle's usually where you're at.
But for what, though? I guess my question is, not one time have I ever said I wish I had a knife.
Because you don't use one.
Right. That's my point. But I've never felt like I needed one to use. That's my point.
You took your keys, like you said, and you ripped open the box.
Open, Brian. You slice it open.
And you made a mess while you were doing it.
Well, the equivalent would be someone saying, like, why do I ever have to, grind my own beans or try something different? I have a Mr. Coffee and Folgers. It's like, well, because there are better experiences out there.
Right, because you want that taste.
And Folger drinkers, right? It's just, dude, guess what? There's a big, bold world out there that you get to experience. Like, that's awesome.
Well, how much more time do you think you spend versus if I'm just using Folgers in the morning, right? Because I feel like people, we're busy, we're taking kids to school, work, all these things, right? What is that extra time investment every day?
Well, for me, I'm actually faster than you because I'm brewing a cup at a time. So I'm not waiting for the machine to brew a whole pot of coffee. Unless you brew.
What does that take? Like 10 minutes, the machine? Like to brew a pot,
right?
Something like that, right? I feel like maybe 10 minutes.
Start to finish?
I would say it takes me it takes about 3 minutes for the water to boil. And the whole process is 5 minutes.
So you could boil enough to do 4 or 5 cups at a time. Let's say your wife, if she wanted to take a couple to work.
I totally can.
Yeah. So it's probably about the same amount of time.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not time consuming.
But the taste is far superior.
Well, you've tasted it.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
I
don't even know. Yeah. Like, I want to go to the store and just buy a home brew or a cold brew and see what that tastes like.
Try that.
No, I will. I want to do that. So another question I have, Brian, is what's the one thing you wish you knew when you started? Right. So everybody listening, maybe hey, I want to get into this, but what's one of the things, oh man, if I knew this would have saved me so much time, effort, and energy?
Well, that's a great question. The one thing I wish I knew it wasn't complicated or hard. I wish I knew that. It just seemed like when you go in and the barista's doing their magic behind the counter, it feels like, how am I going to replicate that at home? I don't have all of those tools. If I knew that I could put together in the same way I bought a coffee pot to brew my coffee, because those things aren't cheap, I could have created or bought a pour over station. As a matter of fact, you could buy a ceramic pour over for the top of your coffee cup for as little as like $12. I mean, it's actually less expensive if you want to go that route. I wish I had knew I could have started sooner. That's what I wish I knew.
Gosh, I feel like that's right on the money. because you walk into a coffee house and again, you see these tanks and the equipment and everything involved. Like there's no way I can do that at home, right? Same thing. You walk into Starbucks and immediately you're intimidated. Like, oh my gosh, they have thousands and thousands of dollars of equipment.
Oh yeah. And it's making noises and steam's flying up and special grinders. And it's like,
what are they doing with the milk? You know, what's going on over there? You know, right? What is that? How am I supposed to do that at home?
I don't have all that stuff.
Right. So what's maybe the biggest myth or misconception?
It takes too much time.
Yeah, I feel the time thing. You're right.
Everybody thinks it takes too much time. I could brew you a cup of coffee that'll knock your socks off faster than we would wait for the machine to cook it on the counter.
So what's the difference here, right? I think it is the Mr. Coffee or instant coffee pod is I pour the water, I dump my grinds, and I hit a button and I walk away for 10 minutes and I come back and I have a pot of coffee.
Right.
Versus spending the time to be intentional and connect with what I'm doing and make myself
well, maybe that's it, Mike. Being intentional. You're in the moment, right? You're part of that process versus you're right. You just hit a button and hey, it's going to give me a cup of coffee.
You hit it on the head because I'm not going to walk away from I know it's going to take 3 minutes. I could walk away to go grab something, but I have to be back to turn it off before it whistles.
So some people are going to push the button, walk away for 10 minutes, walk away for 20 minutes.
Sure.
That thing's going to brew and it's got the little warming plate on the bottom and it's ready for you to come back and use it for the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long that little hot plate stays on. Versus I have my ritual, my technique where whether it's a French press or a pour over or an espresso or whatever your method of making your coffee is, there's something to being in the moment and enjoying that technique and being intentional with what it is you're doing. Like almost therapeutic, right? Because I'm focused on whatever that function is versus doing those other things for the 20 minutes and then coming back and grabbing a cup of coffee.
I mean, Mike, I think that's such a great point is when you kind of put that into our morning routines that we all have. And you're right. If I know, hey, I get up, I do this, I get the coffee going, I have that 10 or 15 minutes. Now I'm whatever, shaving, taking a shower, blah, 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 taking the dog, whatever that is, right? We all have those routines, putting that new process into my daily routine, right? But then the outcome is going to give me a far superior product. Like if I knew, hey, I had to spend an extra 10 minutes to get this beer versus a Sam Adams, right? Now that I've tasted this, I'm going to spend that time to get this outcome.
So for someone that's doing it, right, I guess my question is, what do you get out of, I mean, other than probably a better cup of coffee, do you get anything out of putting forth that effort into the routine? Just talking about the technique and the routine, I would assume the smells and the...
I was going to say, it gets really personal really quick, and it kind of forces you to stop, which we don't do very well. You hit it on the head. You know, you could walk away from the pot brewing it, whereas this process, you have to stay engaged. So even when I get to the pour over part and that you know, the cap starts to show up and the bloom starts to go on and I'm like, oh, let's go. Was it Folgers in your cup?
Yeah.
Somebody made a big deal about the aroma.
The best part of waking up.
Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
And they showcased this kind of what Starbucks wanted to do, this experience. You know, when you clear the door in Starbucks, all you smell is amazing coffee. Right. That's the first thing that hits you in your face, whether it's from the barista or it's from the shelf, you're getting that. And that's the same thing you're doing at home. You're taking that moment to just get in there. And I don't even think I think it's actually a healthy practice. The other thing that's not talked about is there's a lot of debate on whether or not coffee's good for us theoretically. But every time I've read a book about whether it's good or not, when we don't consume it with all of the fat or the sugar, it's really healthy for us as long as we're consuming it in moderation. There's a lot of health benefits that come with it too. And part of it, I think, is tied to slowing down, participating in the process.
Well, you're right. I feel like with coffee, there is that vibe.
Yeah.
It's the slow down, enjoy it. You have it with someone. There is that routine, right, that you go through. Like I have some buddies, they only do their own long process, like maybe on the weekends or a special occasion, but they still do it. Or friends come over. hey, then I'll bust out and actually get the grinder out, grind it, and go through that process. So it's maybe necessarily you don't have to do it every single day, but just whether you're going to be a daily or even on a special occasion or a weekend, it's still really cool to do.
So we just bought an espresso machine. Well, I just bought my wife an espresso machine recently. And so we'll do that usually in the evenings, like come home from work, like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, when you're kind of dragging and you're like, oh, I still got like 5-6 hours left in the day. So it's always like, hey, you want an espresso? And she gets all excited. Yeah, I want an espresso. And so it is the whole, load up the little, I don't even know what it's called, the little bar thing that holds the espresso that you pull the shot from. And, I bought the little tamper and the little, metal thing to stir the grounds up and all of that. And there is this whole routine and technique you have to go through. And it is very satisfying when you push the button and you see the coffee coming out of it. And you feel the stupid little, doll cups espresso cups.
Do you sip on that? Is that like a little, a little sipper, or is it like just to take it back?
It's a sipper because it's strong.
Right.
It's very, very flavorful.
It's like 1 cup, right? Of coffee?
No, the cup is.
No, I mean, the espresso shot is the equivalent of drinking a cup of coffee.
I don't know, like caffeine wise, I'm not sure.
So the darker roast is actually less caffeinated than the lighter roast coffee.
Right.
So do you use an espresso roast? Or do you just use beans that you like?
We've done both.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
So we started like we didn't know. So we're like, oh, this one says espresso. So these are the espresso beans. But knowing that when you roast beans darker, it's less caffeine.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to buy special beans for the espresso versus anything else. So we've been using our regular coffee beans, and it's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Like, the flavor's good.
Yeah.
And so I'll make 2 little espressos and put the stupid little, saucers, and I'll put a little cookie on it. And I bring it to my wife, and her eyes light up like it's the best part of her day to sit and sip her espresso and eat her little cookie. It's such a treat.
Good. Yeah.
But it's the whole routine associated.
Is that after dinner or before dinner?
It's both. It's whenever the mood strikes us.
Yeah.
Did you put my beans through your machine yet?
I have not done espresso with
gotta
beans.
try. I'm curious. Yeah.
I did just the pour over with those beans.
And so historically, espresso is typically the roast, and it's usually clear of what we call second crack. And again, we'll get to that in a few minutes. But espresso is typically a roast, and then some would argue that there's a specific bean from a specific region. But the Italians defined that a long time ago when they invented the idea of espresso. So,
yeah,
I understand
it was crazy going to Italy last year. Just the amount of people drinking espresso. I feel like I had always heard that, when you're in Italy, but no, it's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to tell the Americano story because this is like the little piece of trivia that just blew my mind because I learned this like a year ago and I was like, oh, it's amazing. So World War II, right? American troops were in Italy. And of course, America, we drink a lot of coffee, but they're drinking, the Folgers back home. So they get to Italy and Italy, they're throwing back espresso. They're not making, pots of coffee. And so American soldiers would order an espresso and then they would ask to add hot water to it to kind of dilute the espresso down to more of a coffee, what they were used to as coffee. Well, it became so prevalent that this is how the American soldiers were ordering the coffee that the Italians came up with the Americano. This is the American version of how they want to drink coffee, and thus the Americano was born. So if you go to a Starbucks or any coffee shop worldwide, Americano is on the menu, and that is just an espresso with hot water added, born from U.S. troops in World War II.
Really cool.
Man, if they're anything like my family members, they're like Americans. They invented Americano was said like Americano. It was said something like that.
Oh, you want one American?
Yeah, I'm just saying. Even though they benefited from all of those troops for sure.
Of course.
You think?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, but hey, again, for me, it's all about your cup. What cup do you like? You could get lost in somebody else's idea of what a good cup of coffee is, and oftentimes I have gotten an overzealous barista who's like, this is how coffee should be. And God bless you, man. Get after it. That's cool too. I'm down with that. But when he's done, I'm like, well, that's not my cup of coffee. And if you're going to judge me, it's all right because I know how I like my coffee. So there you go.
Never even brewed a cup of coffee in my life.
But
where do I even start? Like, I'm not going to go.
Your wife has, right?
Yeah, I mean, we just get those little things, put them in, hit the button.
I think for
K-cups. We even talked about K-cups.
But that's not a subject we need to.
No,
that's not important.
Well, I think that Well, it's funny because K-Cup is the equivalent of the Mr. Coffee now. It's the push the button and it does everything and I'm done. But that's probably not great coffee in there.
The only time working in restaurants, that's my brewing. I would basically get a filter, put the grounds in, and hit a button. That's the only thing I've ever done. And I will say this, working at P.F. Chang's, we had the espresso machine behind the bar, so we had to make all the lattes and cappuccinos. And I was so annoyed in making them. I would make every single one the same. I didn't even care. We had the little steamer for the milk. I would just steam it and send it out. I'm like, why is anyone even order? Like, who ordered? I was so annoyed not being a coffee drinker, and they never came back. I would always laugh at that. They never came back. I made a cappuccino and a latte exactly the same. One has a lot of foam, one has a little. I would just send it out. Because I'm a bartender. I'm not, making cappuccinos.
You're not a barista.
Yeah, I'm not a barista.
I think for you, Mark, the way you should step up your game is start trying cold brew in a French press.
I think
that's what I would start with.
Brian, I agree with you. I mean, this is so amazing
Just take your coffee and put it in a French press, like I suggested, and put it in the fridge and
I think I always
14 hours later.
Yeah, well, I think one of the biggest things, whatever we do, you want to get traction, right? So if you can get some good momentum, get good traction. I start something, I had a good outcome, I liked it. Now I try something, make it a little bit darker, lighter, right? Now I'm kind of getting into the mix, right? I'm kind of playing around with that. I'm seeing some outcomes. I'm enjoying the different flavor profiles, and I'm settling on, hey, I really like this. I think that's the goal, right? You're right. Rather than pushing the button, take that next step and kind of work your way through that process.
Totally.
Does he need to buy a French press, or could he, if he has a big mason jar, that would probably work too with some type of filter or something at the end, right?
Great question. I think it would be wise to invest in a French press at least. To try cold brew. There are some high level cold brew products out there too. Like we have one that's shaped in the shape of a wine bottle, and then it has this filter on center that comes off with the cap, and
How do you determine the brew ratio? Coffee and water. Again,
lots of practice. It's like baking a cake for the first time. Oh, that one fell. Let's go.
But I feel like is that part of the fun, right? Is that part of this process?
But it sounds like, and again, to me, it would seem like the pour over is the way to experiment, because I'm making a cup at a time versus experimenting with my Mr. Coffee, and I'm brewing bigger batches, right?
Yeah.
So with a pour over, if I went and bought some, new coffee beans or a new roast or whatever, I'm going to go whatever the standard is, water to coffee ratio. And if I drink it and I'm like, oh, it's too much. I don't like it that strong. I could brew a second cup with less, right?
Totally.
And you're going to kind of fine tune to your palate what you want out of your cup of coffee.
Without a big loss. Yeah.
So I know we talked a little bit about water. Do you filter your water or use bottled, distilled? Is there a big difference?
It comes out of the fridge because that's just the most economical. I haven't installed it yet, but I plan on putting a larger one in the system filter.
If you use tap water, would you be able to tell?
I can.
You can. And what is it? It's just more like you just get more of the...
Our tap water is gross. I mean, I'm grateful that we have tap water the way we do, because 50% of the world struggles with having actual water that they can consume. But ours is full of chlorine mostly. And I'll tell you, when I'll cheat and get an extra glass of water, because most places, like we've talked a lot about Starbucks, but Bodhi Leaf, they have a really high level filtration system set up to their lines where they're going to get their water for brewing. Sometimes I sneak a cup out of there and I take it home and I sit it on the counter and I use it in the morning.
And what's Bodhi Leaf? Is that a coffee house? Is it also, do they sell grounds and beans?
So Bodhi Leaf started off as our local Orange County importer of green coffee beans for the home roaster. Is where it all began. And they started also roasting their own beans in-house but they didn't have like coffee houses initially, and they do now. And so they had their big setup down on Catella over there. So the main draw for me with Bodhi Leaf was I got into coffee roasting. So that would be where we're going with stepping up your next level, right? And Bodhi Leaf put me in a spot before you could buy coffee beans. Otherwise, I was going through an importer, like any other import that's not usually something that you get your hands on.
So when you go into the shop, do they have a picture of Point Break, like Bodie in there? Or no, is it totally, everybody's wanting me to ask this question right now. I mean, I know I'm not the only one. I'm thinking that, is this like maybe the owner loved Point Break, right? And Bodie, he is one of my all-time favorite movie characters, by the way.
Big time, I'm with you on that.
Right? Yeah. That movie was so sick.
It was a
Is there? I just watched it last week. No
dude,
lie.
how good is it?
I've seen it 1,000 times.
What's your favorite line in that? It's fresh in you.
Utah. Give me 2.
Okay. Oh. Yeah. I also love I am an FPIH.
I know, man. Isn't it wild?
Yes, I love how he goes right into that.
Oh yeah, I know them all.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, the Utah is amazing. Okay, so it's not based on the movie.
No, I'm laughing because I'm like, what is my favorite quote from that movie?
Yeah, what do you like in that?
When I was a young man, I was in love with the young lady who was, I forget her name.
She was cute. Yeah.
Lori Petty?
Yeah, Lori Petty. Good.
She was
like, oh my gosh, a surfer girl.
Oh yeah.
Because I grew up surfing.
Tyler Ann Endicott was her name. In that.
Yeah.
Yes. So when that movie came out,
in her hot little car, that Gia with the board sticking out of the back. Yeah. Come on, she gets off and she does.
Changing out of her swimsuit on the side of the road.
Surfer girl.
I just thought Keanu was so good in that movie because that was his persona at that time. It was perfect. I think he just played it up. Right? Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna transition from brewing to roasting.
Roasting.
Yep.
So Brian, if I've been home brewing for a while and I want to take the next step and start roasting my own beans, where do I start with that?
Well, I would say you start with some research. Coffee beans are not beans; they're seeds from a fruit. And what you do is you order them from Amazon. You could order them there. We could buy them locally through Bodie Leaf. You could buy those online, or you could drive down to the store. And then you order them in a pound section, segment. If you're bold like me, sometimes I'll order 5 pounds at a time. A green coffee bean.
So excuse me real quick. This is something I'm not getting this at Albertsons or Safeway or Stater Brothers, right? Now I'm going to a specific.
Absolutely. Mainly because you're getting a bean that hasn't been roasted. So that's what a green. So you're getting that seed. It's a dried seed, like sunflower seed, for example. It's a dried seed. You can't eat it, but you can roast it. Yeah, you get these green beans, and then you're going to have to put them in on a coffee roaster.
It's about the size of?
It's about the size of a toaster oven.
Okay.
All right. And the toaster oven has a tumbler in it. It has a blower fan in the back of it.
So how much does something like that cost?
So the device I use is a Beemore, and it costs between $400 and $500. These days, the last time I looked. Yeah.
So then you're putting your beans in there, and then are you setting the...
Yes. Okay. So the roaster that I have it has settings on the device for roast profiles. And a roast profile basically takes a bean and puts it through a temperature range, raises the temperature, lowers the temperature at certain times in whatever the profile the programmer decided was best. And typically right now I have 5 settings on my particular device, 1 through 5. Number 1 is the hottest setting. So it's going to cook the beans at the highest temperature in the shortest amount of time. And number 5 is the lowest setting. It's going to cook the beans over the longest course of the time at the lowest temperature. And basically there was a book that came with the device that said, if your beans came from this region, use setting P3, profile 3.
So it's pretty automated.
It's very automated, super automated, actually. All I do is load the basket with beans, there's a catch in there for the chaff because it pops like corn and the skin comes off of it.
So when you're setting the roasting, timer and all of that, is that preset or how do you?
It's all preset. So, I'm old school. You heard my story about how we got to.
You were drinking motor oil.
Yeah, big time. So it wasn't dark enough. A light roast is too light for me. And a lot of my coffee fans will give me a hard time because Brian doesn't know what he's talking about. And maybe that's okay. But this is my favorite cup. And if you drank even Starbucks for a portion of time, you're typically more of a medium to dark roast consumer. If you grew up in the era that I was, we were always chasing what we thought was good coffee. It was a dark roast.
Okay. So I'm picturing your coffee roaster has preset function. You said it's going to raise the temperature, lower the temperature, a certain set amount of times. It has this profile it's going to follow. And I'm picturing kind of like a washing machine, right? when you hit go on your washing machine to do your laundry, it's going to run through its specific profile of how many agitations and when the soap's going to add.
Absolutely.
And it runs it all the way through. And at the end, you're stepping in saying, no, I need a little bit extra. So you're kind of overriding the stop feature to keep it cooking.
Exactly.
In this case. Okay.
Yeah.
So your machine is convenient because it has a lot of automation already built into it.
It's very convenient. It's one of the few on the market that has an automated function that isn't super interactive. I think there's a brand called Gene Cafe, and I think you could only roast 1/4 to 1/2 pound max. In my machine, I could roast a whole pound at one time, which represents those 2 bags. That's a huge benefit for me.
So how many cups does a pound give you?
Let's see.
Is that like a couple days worth? Like a couple days?
My wife and I, we drink a cup of coffee for sure every morning. I usually get a second one in there, sometimes a third one. And between the two of us, it'll last, a pound will last us almost 6 or 7 days.
Okay.
Depends.
Yeah, that's a good amount.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So is that typically when you're roasting, is that similar to when you're brewing? You have to find your flavor profile, what I like, so on and so forth. Then I guess the beans that you're roasting also, that has an impact on the flavor profile.
Yeah. So green beans, when you purchase them, you typically are going to purchase them based on a flavor profile. And a flavor profile would look like walnut, fig, date, fudge kind of thing. That's kind of one of my favorite mixes right there. They could have fruit tones in them, whatever you think you want to taste or try.
So you buy the bean, you have your roast profile. Then when I put that into my roaster, then I can set my timer based on what I'm trying to achieve when I brew it.
Correct.
Like how's that process, right? From bean to I'm ready to brew.
You stick the green bean inside the machine and you roast it. And at what level you roast it depends on how much you're going to taste this profile. So a lighter roast has more of the tasting notes in it. There's no getting around that. Unfortunately, in my opinion, it also has a bitterness or a sourness that comes with it because the acidity level is still pretty high. Once you get clear of that, then those things kind of settle down, and that's why I roast them to where they're at today. And most of my coffee aficionados would call this over roasted. And this is the way I enjoy coffee. That's my cup.
So is it a bold? You're getting a bolder.
I think it's
flavor.
A bolder roast, more of a roast is really what's going on. So I determine based on what the machine told me it's going to do in these profiles, based on its elevation, which is important, and its region, which is the most important, what kind of sun it's getting, how long it's getting it, when does it cool off. Paul talked to you about a lot about that stuff, my friend Paul, who grows trees, and a lot of fun veggie stuff. The region has a lot to do with the bean, and then the process. So after the beans come off, after the fruit comes off the tree, they could put it through a machine and hull it, and that's called, I think we call that processed. The next step would be natural, and what they do is they take the raw fruit, and they set it out on the cement, and they let it sun dry. And this could take days or weeks. I think it takes weeks. I think it's up to 6. And they keep moving it like they're raisins or something across the ground. And over the course of time, all of the juices that were in the fruit sunk into the bean. And that's called natural. And that's what you're going to have when you cup that. So all of that to be said, that all of those flavor notes live inside the bean. And then the machine said these 1 through 5 profiles are best for these regions on the planet. And so I typically get a bean that comes from P3, profile 3. And that's like Brazil, places in Indonesia, Hawaiian beans, some African beans. All of the ones that are really close around the equator are usually the ones that have a flavor profile that I'm interested in. That's usually how it works.
So when you get through your roasting process, is there a cure time when you pull the beans out, or can you go right to brewing and grinding at that point?
I know that the coffee guys are going to hate me, but I'll cup it that day.
What is cupping? What is that?
I'll brew it up.
Okay, so you'll brew it up.
Myself a cup of coffee.
Is there a pro and con?
The folks think that you should, on average, you should wait 3 days to as much as 3 weeks for the coffee bean to outgas. Basically what happens when it finally outgasses, it settles down. And when it settles down, its profile's set. why I'm willing to brew it that same morning is because the flavor profile changes over the course of the whole bag as it outgasses. And typically,
so that still is like a living organism, right? It actually
it's
is
like your bread.
Yeah, a great point.
It's
right.
like your bread tastes fresh and great
Yep.
at the front, and then it could get stale towards the end. And I think that's what happens to most coffee. And that happens with green beans too, although those are, some would argue what it is, but 2 to 5 years is a shelf life for a green bean.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So if you really found the bean that you liked, you could invest and get a
Totally
giant sack of these things and just leave it in your pantry as long as it's cool and dark and not wet.
Totally recommend it too if you got the math figured out. Absolutely, because some of these beans, like there's this Ethiopian bean I really like, but it's from Harar, and that's a high conflict region right now, and so the availability comes and goes. And it's not all that consistent either. I've noticed that too. Like, I got this really great batch and I wish I bought 50 pounds of this stuff, but you don't know until you taste it. Right. And then you're like, I'll have 5 pounds of that, but do I want to change after that? That's the other fun part about roasting is there's this opportunity to taste products that are fresh. You're getting the freshest. I don't boast your favorite cup. I boast your freshest cup. You're going to get the freshest experience on the planet, from all of these coffee regions all over the world. And that's what makes coffee roasting super fun to me.
So back to the shelf life, green beans are stable. They're going to last.
Yeah, a couple years.
Then you roast, quarter pound, half pound, whatever, full pound. You're going to roast what you're going to use in the next few weeks.
That's how I do it. Yeah.
And then you keep it as a whole bean. And
yes.
then you grind it right before you brew it.
Correct.
Okay. You don't roast it, grind it, and then store it.
I only grind it before I go camping, and that's just for convenience.
Gotcha. And what do you use to store the beans after you've roasted them? What's your storing method?
One of those ceramic jars with the rubber lid on top.
So you don't need to vacuum pack these.
Some people think so, but if your palate's not trained to understand the process, then it's not going to make that big of a difference to you. And I don't think it increases the shelf life that much. We do know if you take the air out, it'll help, but these things are going to outgas no matter what, whether they're exposed to the outside or not. So yeah, as of late, I don't have beans very often, and they're much more than a week or 2 old. That's how I roast them.
Right.
All right. What else on roasting?
Yeah. So I'm picturing the roasting process like you were talking about so I'm picturing roasting like a marshmallow, right? So I could wave my marshmallow over the campfire and get just
set it on fire,
a little bit of campfire smell, right? Which changed the flavor a little bit. Or I can take my time and do the golden brown, which is going to give me a certain flavor. Or I could light that thing on fire till it turns into a meteorite, and then I'm left with essentially the espresso roast.
Absolutely.
Right? So it is legit like the exact same roasting process. The one thing that we didn't talk about was you've referenced the term crack a couple of times.
Crack.
First crack versus second crack. So if you want to explain that.
Absolutely. So beans, we call it popcorn pop. It pops when the popcorn gets to a certain temperature. The oil that's inside of it causes an explosion, which causes the thing to cook and turn inside out. The coffee beans do the same thing. They have an oil inside of them. They get to a certain point, and first crack is like at a certain temperature, and it's all different for every bean. But it comes with the sound. It sounds like popping corn, pop, 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 and it's a lower, pop, 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 pop. Then a second crack will come, which is minutes later, and when it starts to get to second crack, it sounds more like. It's a whole different sound. And so then that's the best way to describe the difference between the cracks, and that there are 2 of them and they come in succession. And again, I don't roast my beans. I roast them right up to about where I think second crack's going to be. And sometimes one will go off and I'm like, oh, time for a cool. Let's go. Other folks, they want to find their way to stop it before the first crack. And some folks are like, I got to get it just past first crack. So some are just before first crack, some are just past first crack. But you always want to lead up to the crack or get the bean after it, because at some point then all of those beans came to the same temperature.
Right.
Because if you got beans that are mixed up in their temperature, they're going to cause for there to be a different flavor profile.
And you said the chaff at one point, is that like the skin of the bean that's coming off as it roasts?
Yes, it's like a skin. Absolutely.
Like a rice hull, essentially. It's the outer coating of
rice hull. Great
Okay.
Great description. Yeah.
So as you're cooking it, that stuff is all flaking off?
Yes.
So when you take your beans out, is all of that chaff mixed in with your beans?
So to an extent, this particular device has a tumbler in it, and then it has a chaff catch that goes in behind it. And so when you take the catch out, it's pretty full and it's pretty dirty when it comes out. The chaff goes everywhere. It's like paper. It floats like paper. And so then what I do, thank you, family, they shake my beans for me. It's kind of a violent, I shake the basket to get the chaff off. Some folks use vacuums or fans to blow it off or blow it away. We just kind of shake it. So kind of one of those things. Every time I do it, I get stuck with a specific song in my head.
Shake It Off? The Taylor Swift song? You gotta, what is it?
That is Shake It Off. Yeah.
You gotta shake it off, shake it off.
No.
Shake. I have daughters, so trust me, I know all the Taylor Swift songs. So
What's your song though?
I'm treating it like one of those shakings.
Like a maraca?
It's kind of what it sounds like.
Dora the Explorer?
It's the
It's a
theme song to
Yeah.
The Odd Couple.
Yes.
And so I'm shaking this thing and I get this rhythm going. It's silly.
So I have a couple quick hitters for you.
Yeah, let's go.
What is your favorite bean origin plus brew method combo?
Okay. So right now.
Right now.
Right.
Because I'm sure that changed.
Because it has changed. Because I used to really like Burundi. It's a region in Africa. Delicious. The particular farm, I don't know what happened, but I can't get that specific one anymore. But that one was amazing. Right now, my favorite is Ethiopian, and it's the Harar region. And that one's just... So most Ethiopians are very earthy. That's a language we use. It kind of got this dirt flavor to it. And some people like that. I do too, but not too much of it. And the Harar region... I don't know what's going on with those beans, but man, they're just the right amount of earthy to me. And so it's not overwhelming, because some Ethiopians are like, oh, that literally tastes like a cup of dirt.
Yeah.
And
then how do you like to brew that?
Pour over every time.
Yeah.
Pour over every time.
So I'm going to ask you and Mike 2 items, and you need to pick which one you prefer the most. And this is coffee related. Top 5 answers on the board.
Hit it.
Pour over or French press?
Pour over.
Same.
This is just far superior.
It's easier to clean.
And I think that's the thing. It's the cleaning part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the French press because I can make 2 cups at a time.
Correct.
But it's such a pain in the ass to clean.
To clean it.
You got to stick your hand in there, and it's a shit show.
Single origin or blend?
Wouldn't know enough to pick.
And just pick one.
Well, I'm going to go single origin.
I'm definitely going single origin.
That's what the cool kids do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's only like a couple blends that I've had. I'm like, oh, that was spectacular. So I'm going with single origin. Yeah.
So when you leave the house, are you leaving in a coffee mug? Do you have a special, thing you're taking it out with? Like, what are you leaving the house with when you're taking your coffee?
I don't care when I'm leaving the house. Like, we have a bunch of different travel.
Yeah, what's your travel go-to?
And honestly, I don't care. Like, usually a metal, like Yeti or something. Like, we have several of them. Like, whatever one's clean.
You can take a couple cups in there.
Oh yeah. But at home, I always use the same mug. Like, if I'm at home.
And what is that?
It's the mug that I actually just recently got in Portugal last year. We went to a little ceramics place, and it's just, my wife and I each bought 2 different mugs. It's just a stoneware mug.
Dude,
and I
that's
know,
sick.
I got this
that's
at a
solid.
little
I like that.
ceramic shop in Portugal. But I always had like my favorite mug, and that's just my new favorite mug.
Morning cup or afternoon pick me up?
Morning cup.
I do both.
Like, what I would ask you this: is there one that's more satisfying, the morning cup or that espresso that you and your wife have kind of at that point in the day?
So I love everything about coffee. I love the way it tastes. I like that it's hot. I like holding the mug. I like being intentional and enjoying it. So the morning thing for me is probably a little bit more intentional.
Yeah.
We used to do coffee in the afternoon, like just regular coffee, but that was more just I needed the caffeine to get me through the evening. But now that we're doing the espresso with the little cookie, and that's now more intentional, now it's a toss-up.
Let me ask you this, Mike. What do you think is more weird? If someone doesn't have a pocket knife or they don't drink coffee?
Or weird?
Weird.
I don't think either are weird.
But what's more weird? I'm not like, yeah, maybe neither one's weird, but what would be more weird? Brian, what do you think on that? Either you don't carry the pocket knife or you don't drink coffee. Like if you meet a guy and he's like, I don't do either, which one's more weird?
I think it's more strange to me if someone doesn't consume coffee.
Yeah.
Not that it's a big deal, because I know plenty of people.
Yeah.
Prefer
No, I'm with
tea.
you on that. I think it's if someone doesn't drink coffee, they're like, you're a little like leery of them.
Or they don't drink it at all, for sure.
Do you agree with that, Mike?
I wouldn't find each one weird. My problem is with the weird, right?
Strange. I like how Brian,
not cultural.
I like strange. What is stranger? You don't carry a pocket knife or you don't drink coffee?
It would be odd if someone didn't have a go-to like morning beverage. Like I don't like the way coffee tastes, so I drink tea,
right?
Or I drink Diet Coke, or
Right.
I have my beverage of choice.
Yep.
If someone didn't have that at all, that would be weird.
But the question is, what is stranger? You don't drink coffee or you don't carry the pocket knife?
Guess the drink coffee.
I think it's coffee. It's coffee, because pocket knife is a little more obscure.
I'm excited to meet someone that doesn't carry a pocket knife because of all the things you get to experience when you do. Again, I think it's a positive.
I think it's if we surveyed 100 men, I think 89 to 95 do not carry a pocket knife.
I think you're hanging out with the wrong man.
Yeah. Do you carry a pocket knife? Do you have a pocket knife on you right now? Right now?
I know, but
see, exactly. He does that. I don't think anybody in here.
And I left my wallet in the car.
I don't think anybody that's come in yet besides you has had a pocket knife.
Paul probably.
Maybe Jeff.
No, I'm kidding.
Paul,
Maybe Jeff. Would Jeff?
Yeah,
Jeff,
for sure.
Jeff does.
Jeff probably has two. Jeff probably carries
he's
a Leatherman
he's double barreled.
and a regular pocket. So,
all right.
Yeah.
What do you got? Something else on that you want to add?
You said 80% of men don't carry. I would say.
No, I said 89.
Oh.
89 out of 100 guys.
I would say,
do not carry pocket knives.
I would say 11% of the men that I hang out with don't carry pocket knives.
Yeah. Does Paul carry a pocket knife everywhere?
I don't know.
I don't think he does. Right. I'm trying to think of like people that have come in.
Does
Mark?
I would suspect
do you think Mark
he does on the job for sure. Whether he's got one in his.
Mark probably has some type of blade on him, if I had to guess. Mark Boyce? Yeah.
No. Mark, Cub Scout, Boy Scout.
Yeah, Mark Boyce. Yeah. Probably.
Okay. All right. We'll have to ask him. We'll have to get him back in here. All right. What is the joy you get when you brew a cup and you get to share that with other people?
That's an easy answer. It brings me a lot of joy, mainly because it's a couple things. If you're going to pour somebody a cup of coffee that you're hoping they like, well, then you probably know about who they are. So most of the guys that I know who's going to join me for a cup of coffee and share some of mine, I've got an idea what they like to consume. And I could try and replicate that. And sometimes I hit it and sometimes I don't. But it's like a treasure hunt. There's a reveal there. Like, you're waiting to see what the response is. And sometimes the response isn't a positive one. That's great for me too, because I just learned something. Like, well, tell me more. What is it that you don't like about this coffee? So I'm thinking ahead. Like the next time we get to hang out, how can I provide for that palate in a different way? Right. So that's what brings me a lot of joy when it comes to this conversation about coffee and sharing it. Love, nobody turns away a bag of coffee. Nobody. Even if somebody doesn't drink coffee, they're like, oh, I know somebody who might like this.
Right.
And you're like, oh, right. I'm excited that they'll get to share that with you.
No, that cold brew was insanely, amazingly good. Like legit. So Brian, why should everyone start home brewing coffee?
You should up your brewing game, and you should because this experience that Starbucks attempted to create, and I think they did a good job. Everybody's chasing it through the drive-through now, and I think the experience is gone. Now everybody's just showing up to get their caffeine delivery. When I go into Starbucks, it's the same thing. It's hustle bustle. Everybody's getting their name called. They're grabbing it and they're splitting. Very few people are really just sitting down, and that's what you need to do at home. You need to take the moment. You need to take the time. You need to put your nose in it, right? You need to just really wrestle with the whole process itself, from from fruit to cup, big time.
Let me ask you another one. Brian, what?
All you?
Is that good? All right.
Yeah, good.
Brian, why should everyone take that next step in home coffee brewing, get a roaster, buy beans that are green, and go through the entire process?
Okay, so this is like when you get to this level, the green beans show up and it's confusing and they smell like hay. And it's that confusion, it's that curiosity, that it's that misunderstanding. And then it's the whole process of stepping into this new realm of understanding things. You should certainly try it, not just because it's going to benefit you and bringing you joy, but you can also bring joy to others. And that's my favorite part about the process. When I roast, I can boast. I don't boast often, but I can boast I handed you your opportunity at the freshest cup of coffee you're ever going to taste. Who else can say that? You can't walk into the store and give that gift away, but you certainly can if you roasted it yourself. That's just fun.
Brian, we are so pumped you came in. You killed it. You knocked it out of the park. You gave us so many, I feel like, amazing tidbits, where to start, how to start, the enjoyment you get out of it. We truly appreciate your time and can't wait to have you back.
Sweet. Thank you guys for having me. I'm not kidding it. I've really enjoyed myself. It was a wonderful evening. Thanks again.
Mike, take us out.
Yeah. So if you're new to coffee, if you're looking to step up your game, please drop us a note, a comment. Let us know what your situation is. If you've tried something new or you have recommendations, if you want to add to Brian's story, let us know. We would love to hear what the community has to say about this topic. I think sky's the limit. So thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time, everybody.
Thank you.